Oklahoma's own News on 6 starts now.
Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter!
On this 99th anniversary of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, thousands take to the streets to protest the death of a black man in police custody hundreds of miles away in Minneapolis.
Tonight, demonstrations continue downtown Tulsa after a chaotic rally that some say added insult to injury. And here tonight, we start with live team coverage of the Black Lives Matter rally and the fallout from the protest this evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Brian Dorman.
And I'm Chin Doan. We start with News on 6's Reagan Ledbetter. Reagan, where are you and what are you seeing? Some changes.
Oh, we got pepper balls going on right now. You guys can hear behind me. Tulsa police has threatened out here. But
Reagan,
like I said,
Reagan, Tulsa police.
Go ahead, Brian.
Reagan, Tulsa police just sending out members of the group now throwing objects at officers. We deployed pepper balls. Of course, that's what we're seeing on the ground and gas to disperse this crowd. Reagan, is there somebody nearby you that you might be able to grab for us real quick just to be able to walk us through maybe a protester?
I've been talking to this woman over here for quite a while.
I'd like to know how somebody feels about the turn
Yes.
of the tone here of what we're seeing unfold here at 36 in Peoria. Reagan, go ahead.
Great. They want us to stop. They want us to calm down. And all they have to do is walk with us.
Reagan.
I'd like to stay on Emory's shot, if we may, just for a moment. You know, Brookside is where we saw the demonstrations that were awfully peaceful yesterday. In fact, we had no trouble on Brookside. Lots of people gathered there yesterday. And again, if you're just joining us right now here tonight, you're watching live footage. Reagan Ledbetter is there with Emory Bryan on the scene, showing us what is unfolding here near 36th and Peoria. If you're familiar with that area, we've all been to Brookside, right? Just down the street from where they are is the Starbucks, Jimmy John's, our bar. If you go down a little bit farther, this unfolding here, the police line at 37th Street, stopping folks from being able to go down that way. We have really seen a shift here tonight in the tone of what has unfolded. This second protest tonight, the Black Lives Matter local chapter had organized this. It was peaceful, we saw earlier, beginning at 5 o'clock at the Greenwood Cultural Center. The only trouble we saw was up on I-244, right, Chen?
That's right.
When that vehicle went through. And then in this past hour, Tulsa police at 9:20 putting out an advisory that there were reports of rocks being thrown at vehicles near 36 in Peoria. And within this hour, we have seen things calm down quite a bit. Right around 9:30, police sending out another advisory saying the vandalism had stopped. Officers were there. The crowd was refusing to disperse, but at that point, nothing was violent that was happening at that time, and it was peaceful again. And then at the top of the hour, at 10 o'clock, we saw kind of a shift in the tone of what's unfolding there on Brookside.
Yeah, and then just 15 seconds ago, Tulsa police tweeted that the majority of the people on 36 in Peoria have begun to disperse. Most are headed north on Peoria. But as far as we can see, there are still a lot of people there. And I'm curious to know why 36 in Peoria, because based on what I was hearing from organizers of this rally, they were focusing on the Greenwood district and downtown Tulsa. Compared to yesterday, the plan was to be along Peoria.
To our control room, I wouldn't mind, if it's possible, just to reach out to the mayor again or the police chief and see if we might be able to get either of them live on the phone to be able to talk to us for their reaction of what's unfolding on Brookside, please. Let's go back to Reagan here for a moment. Reagan, the police department now saying the majority of the people there where you're at are starting to disperse. You've been with this crowd all day. Are you noticing that? Are these pepper balls working in where you're at?
From what it looks like, Brian, it kind of looks like people are starting to disperse out of here. Like I said a little bit ago, right before police officers fired the first round of pepper.
All right, Reagan, do me a favor, Reagan, if you could please find somebody that we might be able to hear from. I'm just interested to hear their reaction to the pepper balls that are being dispersed there in that area. So we're going to give you a moment to be able to find somebody, and we want to go back over to Emory. Emory, you were mentioning, you know, obviously, Emory, we all know Brookside very, very well, lined with local businesses. You don't see any damage to any of the businesses still? That's the best news here tonight?
Yeah, I haven't seen any damage to businesses. In fact, after
what's unfolding here in Brookside and Tulsa tonight, we can tell you is happening as well downtown Oklahoma City. I can see out of the corner of my eye Storm Jones right now live on TV at our sister station, covering a very similar scene that is playing out downtown Oklahoma City tonight. In fact, a curfew now in effect in Oklahoma City. That curfew began at 10 o'clock tonight in this city. You're seeing now on the left side of your screen a live shot from Oklahoma City. Thank you, Control Room, for pulling that up. So you can see protests and demonstrations continuing now for a third night in Oklahoma City. We saw last night those really tense standoff with police that unfolded overnight until 2:30 in the morning. And again, a curfew now for Oklahoma City downtown immediate area from 10 o'clock tonight till 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. Our control room has passed along to us. They have tried to reach Mayor G.T. Bynum to see if we can get him back on the telephone. We're still efforting that as well. And wouldn't mind to see if we can get Police Chief Wendell Franklin on the line if we are able to reach out to him as well. I'm just interested in both of those perspectives as what is happening here down in the Tulsa area here along Brookside, as we see so many people gather. At one point, Chin, you were saying as many as 1,000 people had been gathered downtown, and so we're seeing a smaller group here on Brookside, but a small group, as we've seen unfold, the shift in this tone can be very, very mighty.
Sure, and I am curious to hear the mayor, or the police chief's response to this. You know, we have not heard him talk about the protest and how his department is handling this, so, you know, we'd love to hear from him.
I'd like to go back to Reagan Ledbetter. Reagan, are you with us? Yeah, we had two lines, right? We had 37th and Rockford, we had a line of officers there, and then of course right there along the main area of Brookside, right along Peoria. That young man, Reagan, that you just interviewed, of course, mentioned the 99th year. Of course, he's referring the anniversary today, the 99th year anniversary today of the Tulsa race massacre, as these protests over George Floyd continue here in the city. If you're just joining us, we're having live continuous coverage of demonstrations that are happening in Tulsa along Brookside, Peoria, and 36. Of course, you have Jimmy John's there, which is, you can see right, that's the plaza. You have Jimmy John's, and then you have a bank, and then Starbucks. Across the street is Crow Creek Tavern, and then of course as we continue to pan around, this is Emery Bryan's shot for us. As we pan along across from Bank West, you have the Quick Trip there on the corner to get perspective of where we're looking here tonight.
And the mood of this all night really has gone back and forth, back and forth. It started very peacefully at 5 o'clock in the Greenwood District with organizers, Black Lives Matter, saying that this is a peaceful protest. They started out with several speakers talking about what they're doing this for, calling for change and the significance of this day. And then they started marching through the streets of downtown Tulsa, eventually ending up on I-244.
Yeah.
And even then it seemed peaceful. Cars were stopping for them. And then after about 30 minutes is when that truck hit at least 2 people based on reports. And then of course the mood changed. People became very anxious, getting angry, and then seemed to be calmed down a little bit as law enforcement agencies were dispersing people. Here's this video we're mentioning. This is about 6:30 tonight, when as you can see, there are a lot of people.
Yeah, walk me through this, Chin, because I was actually at a friend's house. I was at a pool party before coming into work today.
Sure.
And I was watching in their living room this coverage, watching this unfold on TV, how horrific
these
this
were
was.
some tense moments there. As you can see there, that truck with the trailer hitting several people. I mean, reports of a bicycle even getting stuck underneath that truck. And of course, parents brought their children with them. So during that moment, there are a lot of frantic parents trying to find their children, being separated from their children for a little bit. And
that was really when things shifted, right?
Yes, things shifted.
All right, let's go back to Reagan Ledbetter. It seems that we have some more pepper balls that are being shot at 36th and Peoria. Reagan, go ahead and go.
Yeah, there was a big explosion just seconds ago. It looked like what was a firework that was shot. Oh, we do have one person hurt right here. I talked to her a little bit ago. Apparently she fell after. One sec, we're gonna head this way a little bit for a second. I'm sorry. We're gonna slide back, get out of the way. Now, just seconds ago, we heard a big explosion. I looked over there, and what looked like a firework went off right in front of police. So we wanted to get back here in case any more pepper balls were fired. But you can see everybody has moved their way back here, and now still a lot of people out here right now. We have seen, I would say, probably 3 or 4 fireworks out here tonight, but that was probably the biggest one we've seen.
And Reagan, were these fireworks
really sure being
thrown at police?
No, I saw it go off, and it was in the middle of the street. It wasn't thrown. It wasn't thrown at police. It was right in the middle of the street. I believe that's what it looked like. It went off kind of in front of a driveway over here next to the shopping center. But it was a big firework.
Did you see who lit them up? It kind of scared the entire crowd, and everybody started. I did not see who lit the firework, but as soon as it went off, the whole crowd started running back here towards Peoria, and it's kind of.
reconvened over here in that shopping center area. There's still several people. There's one girl that was hurt over here in the street. She was hurt while she was trying to run away from the initial pepper balls that were shot towards the protesters, and I've heard that she possibly hurt her leg. They've called 911. They're hoping to get an ambulance out here to help her. So we're trying to work on that, keep an eye on her. But that's the only injury that I think I've seen out here all evening. I don't know what Emery's seen, but from what I've seen so far, I've only seen that one injury. I know some people have been coughing and complaining about the pepper from the pepper balls that were shot towards the crowd. But again, police gave several warnings towards the protesters. If you throw anything at us, if you damage any property, we will fire pepper balls, because we will not tolerate any destruction of property, any breaking of the law. And so they warned several times before they did it. We'll keep an eye on this as the crowd's kind of dispersing a little bit out here right now. Back to you guys.
Sure. Yeah, we were mentioning how we wanted to hear from the mayor and the police chief, and about 12 minutes ago, Tulsa Mayor G.T. Bynum did just tweet this. He says, with TPD Franklin, Chief Franklin, and our Tulsa Police Command Post to keep Tulsa and protesters safe, I want to thank the faith leaders who are stepping up to calm the situation on Brookside, so acknowledging what's happening near 36 and Peoria here. The men and women of the Tulsa Police Department are doing an exceptional job tonight. That is all he has said about really anything tonight regarding Brookside.
Let's check in with Emery Bryan. Emery is also in Brookside for us. Emery, what are you seeing right this moment, and where exactly are you?
Well, right now I'm I'm right at the intersection of 36th and Peoria, and I was down where that firework went off, and somebody set that off right in front of the police. Police had a line there about half a block to the east of Peoria, and someone set that off just right on their flank. The police moved back, but so did all of the protesters. Not sure who set that off, but now, and this is how swing the camera around there. That's looking towards that. You can see the police have, excuse me, the police have moved back, and they've started allowing traffic back in here. Police now have a line down at 37th in Peoria. Excuse me, the pepper spray is still heavy in the air here. You can see these people coughing here, lots of people coughing. It's still pretty thick in the air. But the police have a line just to the, down about 37th maybe, down closer to the Jiffy Lube and Trader Joe's. And so all the protesters seem to be in the Quick Trip parking lot, and to the north up here toward Crow Creek. There's still just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people up. Looks like they're up several blocks to the north of my position. I haven't seen anybody hurt other than the one lady that Reagan saw, and that was sort of a fall injury. Every time a pepper spray is deployed or something like that happens, the crowd moves really quickly, and it's a little mini stampede, and that's what's causing the issue there. But still a lot of people here, and just kind of aimlessly moving around with no clear direction on what they're doing next. And the police are just setting up lines. They've now put up some police tape down one block to the south of my location here. Police tape once again on the street to try to keep people from advancing further south into Brookside. That's the scene right now. Guys, back to you.
All right, Emery, fantastic job for us. Thank you. And, we saw this play out last night in Oklahoma City, and we saw demonstrators and protesters kind of walk up and almost challenge police after they asked them to disperse and go home.
So back and forth, back and forth.
It was for hours, wasn't it?
Yes.
It was back and forth, and officers were using pepper spray, and we saw that with our reporters there, and even they were using kind of rubber bullets, trying to get people to just disperse and just kind of call it a night. And we're seeing this now unfold on our own streets here in Tulsa, and again, it's happening in Oklahoma City as well tonight. Our sister station live with coverage that, much like you're seeing here, unfold in Tulsa as we cover this breaking news of demonstrators demonstrating the death of George Floyd in Tulsa along Brookside tonight. And really have been all over. And much of the day we had the mayor on at 9 o'clock on Tulsa CW praising. It has been a great day for these conversations to take place, the mayor said, and he was very proud of the way that this had been unfolding, the conversations that are important conversations to have, and he continued to express his desire to continue to have those important conversations. And no doubt on what is the 99th year today of the Tulsa Race Massacre, we know the divide still in our community, and these conversations need to take place, the mayor said. And tonight he is with our police chief as they watch this unfold as well. The good news of what we are seeing is still most of this is peaceful. What we have seen tonight is not what we saw unfold in the streets of Oklahoma City last night, where we saw vehicles that were set on fire, police cruisers that were heavily damaged, spray painted, businesses that had broken out windows, and looting that was happening.
Charities, nonprofit organizations such as Dress for Success in Oklahoma City, so badly damaged that they're going to be closed for like a week or so.
So thankfully what we're seeing tonight is really a group that was upset, Reagan told us, by the fact that they were told that they needed to take this to the sidewalks and that they were not allowed to be on the streets, and that's really what had happened. The left side of your screen right now, a live shot from our sister station News 9 out of Oklahoma City, showing what is unfolding there tonight as well. As we mentioned, demonstrations and protests continuing there tonight as well. We have Sawyer Bussey as well as Brooke Griffin headed to Brookside as well, so we're going to be checking in with them in a bit. Emery Bryan, as you know, is there, as well as Reagan Ledbetter with our photographer Chris McNamara. Reagan, I'd like to go back to you if you're still with us for a pulse on what you're seeing,
here,
what's happening. Reagan, give us an update on
Brian,
what.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we certainly can. Can you now? It looks like a little bit of an organized effort. You guys are moving in one direction. We can hear the chanting behind you. What's happening?
Well, it was kind of stalled for a while. We saw the pepper balls, we heard the explosions from the fireworks, but it looks like now everybody is marching again. Police did have it blocked off about 37th Street in Peoria with their police cars, but they had turned around and have headed down further on Brookside. So now everybody's back to marching again down Peoria. I'm not really sure where everybody's headed, what the end goal is right now, but like I said, you know, everybody is back to marching again. It looks like not much of the crowd from earlier before the pepper balls were shot has gone away. Everybody kind of dispersed to kind of take cover, but now everybody.
A white man drove through and hit my friend. You want to interview?
And now we're.
A white man started this. It was peaceful.
Now we're heading down Peoria. I'm not really sure where we're headed right now, but yeah, you can see there's quite a few people. I've heard some people talk about coughing from the pepper spray or getting in their eyes. I was coughing a little bit earlier.
Crappy cop.
Reagan, can you grab that lady right in front of you?
She's trying to say that somebody drove by and injured somebody.
All day long. I'm a white.
Can you ask her what her account is, Reagan?
And he drove through and started this.
What'd you say?
Would you please ask that lady what her account?
She's talking about the incident that happened earlier today, Brian.
Oh, I see.
Right there, his face, this close. I have pictures.
And that's really.
Yeah, you can see people are kind of moving down.
But that's really kind of what
ahead,
changed the tone of this day. Was that event that we saw unfold?
It's time for white Christians to stand up and say this is not how it was going. This is not how it was going. Everyone was peaceful. I heard one black leader after another stand up and say, we will not tolerate violence today. He stood up and we prayed together and we stood in the crowds and we agreed and everyone was being peaceful. And then this white man smiling drove right next to me and ran over people, and I carried a woman off of the bridge. Off the bridge. Me and my 20-year-old son carried off the bridge a woman. And then this started. A white man started this.
Now, even after that first incident, it was...
Everything was peaceful. Everyone was being peaceful.
How important it is.
And did you hear that? Fuck fake Christians, because that's what's going to happen. Sorry for the
language.
That's what's going to happen if we don't, as white Christian people, stand up and say this is wrong. They were being peaceful, and I was a witness and standing in the middle of it all day long.
Sounds good.
Will you please ask her where?
Thank you.
Reagan, will you please ask her one more question? Okay.
She's already moved on. I'm sorry, Brian.
Walked away. That's okay, Reagan.
Keep the peace, man, for real. Keep the peace.
I'm just curious as to, anybody, Reagan, there, that any of these demonstrators, I'm really just curious as...
Tried to do something, everybody told them no.
So what, kind of take me through what happened here.
We started at Guthrie Green at the original one at 5. We went from there, we went to the courthouse. We went from the courthouse, we went to the jail. From there, we walked down and we started walking through Riverside. Anytime somebody tried anything, 10 people told them no. The most that was ever done was the Trump sign was taken. And even then, people told them no, don't do that. Then once we got here, people that think this is a joke and don't take this seriously, that think this is like the Joker movie and think it's just a joke in a game, they want to mess with the police. And it's always the same type of person. While we're trying to peaceful protest, they come in and mess it up and ruin it for everybody else.
Are there people from outside of Tulsa that you've heard are here?
That I don't know. A lot of people here, they seem like they actually live here, but then there's some people that you can tell they come here, they just want to mess up what the message really is.
So you're telling me is the majority of people here really want to keep this peaceful, and that was the goal all along?
Yes, like the way it was going on is that we would walk on the street, the police would block it off, let us go through, and then once we finish, that street would open up. If there was a car coming, we'd tell them, hey, it's okay. Like, it's a long line, you might want to turn around, or we let them through. Nobody tried to do anything to them, nothing. And that's how it worked until we got up to here.
So police have been helping you guys technically all day?
Yeah, they were letting us through. We would go onto a street, you would see police cars, and then I know you see those police cars leave, let us through. They'd block other streets and block it off for us, and then it worked all that way until we got to here.
Now, what happened here for those who don't know? Were you in that group that was right in front of police?
Yeah, all we were doing was we were just, they told us to go to the sidewalks. The majority of us went to the sidewalk. I was on the sidewalk. And then you had the stupid people that just think it's a joke and think they can play, try to do stuff, and it made everything else go wrong.
Now, were there people encouraging everybody to move the sidewalks and keep it peaceful?
Yes. Like, I'm not going to say who it is, but I know the people that, like, were, I guess, the leaders or whatever. I'm not saying who they are, but they told everybody, hey, let's go march this way, like they said, and they left. They marched with a whole group of other people the other way. Like, and then everybody else was saying, just come to the sidewalk.
So it's kind of messed up what you guys, were trying to do today.
It was peaceful the entire time. I walked all the way from Guthrie Green, from downtown, all the way over here. Like, it was peaceful. Everybody was getting along and everything until people want to come and mess it up.
Now, what you've seen around what's happened around the country with, the violence and the looting and stuff, was it important for you guys to send a different message here in Tulsa?
We just wanted to show what the purpose is. Like, this is the 99th anniversary. Like, me, myself, as a brown Latino, I still have to struggle. I go through high school, people think I'm a gangbanger, think I'm a drug dealer. That's what the whole purpose of. There's black people out here, don't do anything wrong. They get stopped, they gotta fear for their lives, and that's not how it should be. Like, we should be past this already, and we're not, and that's the messed up part. Like, it shouldn't be like that.
Justice.
Now, have you seen any unity today?
Yeah, there's a ton of people. If somebody fell, a ton of other people came and picked them up. We were walking from downtown and we crossed the bridge. There were so many cars coming by, giving us water, giving us snacks, everything like that. Everybody was taken care of.
So everybody's been receptive of what you guys are doing today.
Yeah, we passed through the neighborhoods and through the suburb neighborhoods and on our way here. People came out of their house and supported us. They started chanting with us. Like, and then nobody damaged any property or anything. Like, they came out and would support with us.
How important is that to you guys?
It's
important. Have that support.
It's important because, like, a lot of times, like, a lot of the reasons some of this rioting and stuff happens is because other people, they're like, why don't you just peaceful protest? We try and then y'all shut us up. Y'all want the main peaceful part just so the message is silent. That way you can ignore it. And that's the thing. We don't want to be ignored. We're trying to get our point across, and the point never gets across no matter how peaceful we are.
What's kind of the plan moving forward tonight?
I mean, I don't really know. Everything escalated. I don't really know. I'm just here for the cause that I believe in, and I hope that everybody else is here for the cause that I believe in. That's just the whole thing.
Well, thank you very much. Clearly very passionate about what's going on here. He tells me the majority of people here wanted to keep this peaceful, and it's been peaceful all day. It's been very calm. There hasn't been any confrontation that I've seen. Chris McNamara, my photographer, and we marched all the way from Riverside over here towards Brookside. We walked along with everybody, and we saw it was very calm. There was some chanting, there was some signs, but there was no confrontation. We saw people come out of their homes, and we're supporting everybody who was marching through the neighborhoods, kind of near 26th and Peoria, and you heard it from him. When they got down here, it was like everything changed, and it kind of escalated into what we saw with the pepper balls and police say possibly rocks and bricks thrown towards police, as well as water bottles filled with we don't know what. I'm gonna get out of the street for a second. But you heard from him, they really wanted to keep this as peaceful as possible today. So we're gonna continue to keep an eye on this and keep you guys updated. Back to you guys.
All right, Reagan, nice work and a great live interview. Thank you very much. Chin, you want to just mention what the candles were about that we saw on the left side of the screen?
Yeah, just a moment ago on the left side of your screen, we wanted to let our viewers know that is a live look. That was a live look from our News on 6 Skycam looking at One Oak Field, and it was a candle. It was with a hashtag Greenwood Rising. Yes. As this is unfolding tonight.
This is the scoreboard that was projected on, and as you can see, it has gone dark here in the past few minutes. We want to explain what we had saw there on the left side of the screen there with those candles during Reagan's live interview. Let's go now to Emery Bryan. Emery, what are you seeing now? Are you still at 36 in Peoria? Can you tell us exactly where you are and what you're seeing from your vantage point, please?
Yeah, well, I'm down at 38th in Peoria, and there's a woman that needs medical attention here, and she had collapsed a couple of blocks north, and now she's been carried down. She's being carried down to firefighters here at 38th in Peoria. Took quite a while for the protesters to get her out of the crowd, but now she's, you see this fellow right here is carrying a woman who collapsed, and she was
I'm trying to figure out
unconscious
whether this is
for a
the
bit,
same woman.
but then they were trying to get her some sugar. So I don't know if it was a diabetic situation or what, but now some people have moved down here because of this scene, and I'm sure the people further back just a little bit have no idea what's going on because they're still shouting things at the police and still carrying on the protest, even as some medical assistance is being rendered here by firefighters just south of 38th and Peoria. But the woman is, she has her eyes open now, but she was unconscious for a while, laying on the street up closer to Channel 2. And some folks tried to give her some assistance there. And now she's been carried down to firefighters who were staging down here where the police line was, now at 38th in Peoria.
And we certainly hope that she's going to be okay. Medical emergency here at 38th in Peoria. Emery, what are you seeing as far as the group goes? Reagan was just with us and showed a kind of a march and some movement. It looks like from your vantage point here at 38th in Peoria that it's all kind of come to a standstill here. What are you seeing as far as the effort of what's unfolding?
Well, a lot of folks suddenly moved here. I would say the biggest group now is at 38th in Peoria. You can see there's just hundreds and hundreds of people on either side of the street. And as the police have moved, the police were moving down Peoria, down towards 41st. And so the crowd had sort of been following along there. And then this happened, and that created a big stir right in the middle of Peoria, up closer to 37th. And now as some police move forward, firefighters move forward, and now I hear more police officers coming. Now there's just a huge crowd of regular traffic, but emergency help trying to get through to help this woman. And now there's just a long line of cars that have gotten in, tried to get in the middle of this. You see people there blocking them, yelling at them, even as they're arriving to help. People blocking the pathway of police officers here, trying to arrive to render assistance and yelling all sorts of things at them.
We want to stay with your shot here, Emery. Let's keep your shot up as we see this happen here at 38th and Peoria. We are hearing now from the police chief, Tulsa Police Chief Wendell Franklin, saying that his message tonight to these crowds along Brookside, they have been told they are unlawfully assembling. They need to immediately leave the area without further destruction to property. We saw this happen last night downtown Oklahoma City, where police said, enough is enough. We're going to allow you to protest. We're going to allow you to demonstrate. We're going to allow you to get your message and your point out there up to a point. When it becomes destructive, when it becomes the fact that people's health is being jeopardized, it's over. And that's what the police chief of Tulsa is saying here tonight, saying that these crowds along Brookside have now been told they are unlawfully assembling and that they need to immediately leave this area without further destruction to property. That's from the police chief tonight, sending that to our Lori Fulbright after we reached out to the police chief for comment about what is unfolding on Brookside tonight. This is a live look. Emery Bryan shot 38th in Peoria. We have Emery, we have Reagan, Sawyer, and Brooke are on their way to this area, and you can see, this really took a turn, Chin, around 9:20 tonight when we had first reports that rocks have been thrown at vehicles, and that is when this has all taken a change. Emery, can you tell us what's happening here in the back of that patrol car right now? Is someone being detained?
being questioned.
No, it looks like somebody was injured. Is somebody being loaded in that police vehicle for health reasons, Emery?
Yeah, that's the lady. They can't get an ambulance in here because there's too many people, so they're loading her in the back of a police patrol car and going to transport her there. Firefighter paramedics jumped in with her, but that's a police officer now transporting this person to the hospital. And people are just screaming at the first responders who are trying to help this lady, not willing to stop the protest even for a second, even for a medical emergency. So
Emery, as you
police in riot gear trying to clear the path so a person can be taken to the hospital.
Emery, you're hearing now the police chief saying that this is a done deal. These folks need to leave. Are you hearing any police saying anything like that over a loudspeaker, that they are unlawfully organizing, that this needs to come to an end and that these folks need to go home? Are you hearing any of that on the ground?
Oh yeah, they've said that many times, but you see, now this is a civilian car here advancing towards the riot police, in between the police and the crowd. That's a civilian car. People are just really ignoring anything that the police are saying until they put out pepper spray, and then they move. But this is a civilian car here, and let me turn you around. Here's another civilian car, and here's people sitting on top of cars. This is turned into a protest. Has turned into a party, and hundreds of people are still just blocking the street. Riot police here, police in riot gear, are protecting that fire truck back there and holding a line just to let firefighters try to back up and get out of here, because the street's all blocked with people and cars, and now it's just hundreds and hundreds of people in all directions. And you can see Brookside's just packed. The crowd does not seem to have diminished any. There's a lot of people. It'll take on a bit of a party atmosphere, and then they'll go back to yelling, "No justice, no peace." That's what they're yelling now. And then when a police officer comes, of course, they shout all sorts of things at the officers. Now the firefighters are pulling out, and police officers are clearing their path. So the fire trucks are leaving. But you can see here, this is out on Peoria. This camera's looking south. You see, as police just getting closer and closer, people getting closer and closer to the officers, pressuring them again. Once again, they had fallen back, and now they're just pressuring them again. And police officers stepping back. They've got their shields, but every time they take a step back, the crowd takes a step forward.
Happening now, 38th and Peoria. You see the Sonic to the right-hand side there. This is Brookside. Brooke Griffin is now available, we're told. Brooke, can you hear us?
In this area along 38th and 39th Street on Peoria. There's hundreds of people gathered. I'm so sorry for the language. If you can't hear that in the background, we're so sorry. This is live TV. But you can see here that there is a civilian car that is trying to get through this crowd here, and we are trying to get through this crowd here. You can see that there are a lot of people that our emotions are running high. They are trying to get their message heard. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you guys now. Brooke Griffin, News on 6, Oklahoma Zone.
All right, Brooke, thank you so much. All right, so we now have Brooke, Emery, and Reagan. We haven't talked to Reagan in a while. May we go back to Reagan for, let's hold this shot for a second.
Let's hold this shot. There we go.
This is Emery's shot, right? Control room?
What you're seeing there is 38th and Peoria.
Is this still Brooke's shot? This is Brooke's shot. So this is 38th and Peoria.
Police still in riot gear. It appears we saw some...
Looks like pepper balls have been dispersed again here,
yes,
which we have seen play out a couple of times here tonight. This crowd just appears to be growing larger, at least more organized than it was earlier, as it kind of seemed as if about an hour ago it was dispersing or at least breaking up. They do seem to be much more organized, as Emery has mentioned, gathering at 38th and Peoria. Is Reagan Ledbetter on the line?
I'm here, Brian.
Reagan, what are you seeing from your vantage point? Behind you is what we just saw at a closer view from Brooke's shot. What's happening?
Yeah, I was right across the street from Brooke when she was just on TV a few seconds ago, and all of a sudden I saw about 3 water bottles fly towards the police officers, and then it was a stampede of people running back this way. And you can see now there's the tear gas, there's the pepper balls that were fired this way. I could hear the shots from the pepper balls, and all that pepper spray is now blowing down this way. I'm seeing more water bottles being thrown.
And what they choose to do is they choose to violate us. They choose to fucking shoot at us and spray us with.
All right, I'm going to step over here for a second.
Yeah, we're going to give you a second to regroup there. We certainly don't want cussing on air if we can avoid it. Let's check in with Sawyer Bussey. Sawyer's now there. We saw in a moment ago. Sawyer, where are you exactly and what are you seeing?
Well, Brian, we just, the pepper balls are hitting us right now.
All right, we're going to give Sawyer just a second to catch her breath. Of course, you know, it's tear gas.
Let's check in with Emery.
Is something you definitely
Emery,
don't want to be breathing in.
Yeah, guys. Sorry, having trouble breathing here. Lots of tear gas being deployed. We're hearing police are still deploying tear gas, and they're moving south. But we're hearing I'm hearing people throwing things. And, I can't tell what's happening, but I think there's some kind of vandalism going on around the Sonic, just to the south of there. Police have moved 2 blocks south of there after letting loose a big volley of tear gas here, and that moved people back, but then the police have fallen back. Lots of tear gas being deployed, but police are moving several blocks to the south now, down towards 41st. Guys, back to you.
When you mentioned vandalism, Emery, what are you seeing?
Well, I'm seeing people pounding on some doors, and I'm hearing. I can hear something breaking, but I'm not sure what it was.
Okay.
And but people are throwing things, bricks and water bottles and such as that. I haven't seen any damage, and now officers have moved substantially south, and the crowd is dispersed because they're not coming through this cloud of tear gas. But you can see people. The people here are.
All right, Emery, we're going to give you a moment so you can rest. We're going to go to Brooke Griffin now. Brooke, where are you? What are you seeing?
Okay. No.
Don't touch me, bro.
Hey, yes, we are here along 37th and 38th Street on Peoria, where they did just release tear gas into the air. There were a lot of people that immediately tried to flee. We were all coughing. It is hard to breathe in this area right now. You can see that a lot of that crowd did get dispersed. There's still some smoke in the area. Cars are now actually able to get through on Peoria. They weren't a few minutes ago. You can see that these crowds really did. They really did get through.
Pouring water on their faces, right, because of the tear gas.
There are, yeah. It's actually spreading back up towards 37th Street now. But there are people carrying around gallon jugs of milk. There are people carrying around water. Hey, we need to back up. And you can hear it now that there are crowds moving back this direction, and the tear gas is actually spreading. I can feel it hitting me now at the 37th Street area on Peoria. But we are going to continue to keep you guys updated as we go. Live in Tulsa, Brooke Griffin, Oklahoma's own News on 6.
Brooke, thank you so much. All right, we're just going to do a brief recap here. Sawyer, Brooke, Emery, Reagan doing a fantastic job for us here in the coverage, all of them feeling the effects of that tear gas. And so we're going to let them all regroup and catch their breath and continue to hold on this shot and give you perhaps maybe we can take another shot that shows just a little bit more of the scope of what's happening here along Brookside, 38th and Peoria. We have seen a lot unfold here. Really, this started around 9:20 this evening when the tone kind of shifted, when protesters were told they were no longer allowed to protest on the streets and needed to be moved to the sidewalks. And unfortunately, that didn't go over very well. And that's when we really saw this escalate and kind of take a different tone and a different conversation unfolded after that point.
Sure. And for those just now tuning in, if we have video from earlier when things were a lot more peaceful from this